Once upon a time, there lived a beginner witch/magician called Aleister Crowley, or Crowley if you're a fan. He did a lot of rather naughty things, messed about with magic and people, became the wickedest man in the world, and then eventually died perplexed. Is that about all the information we need to give in terms of backstory, Chris?
I think that's all the information we need to give, full stop. That's about as interesting as he
Okay,
gets.
right. Okay, so the wickedest man in the world, Aleister Crowley. I'm saying Crowley and not Crowley because I'm not a fan. What's your impression of Aleister Crowley then? Do you think he's a high-level magus, master of the dark arts?
He may be a high-level magus, but that some ceremonial bullshit. Oh, see, I did the first swear, soz.
Right, so are you saying that maguses aren't all that?
I'm just saying that it's like going through school and you say, oh, I'm a year 6 now. And you're like, yeah, but you go to big school next year.
Oh, so you say that he's a big fish in a small pond, and that small pond is full of really immature children.
Basically, I think that's what I just said.
And ceremonial magicians.
I think
hence the ceremonial magicians.
I think that's what I said. Basically, it's okay. I've got to dig myself slightly out of that hole. I don't have it. I'm not dissing ceremonial magicians. What I'm dissing is that if you were that good as a ceremonial magician, you wouldn't have to shout about it quite as loud as Alistair felt the need to. And I think that's what bugs me.
And you probably wouldn't make as many mistakes as old Alistair did. Did he ever really master anything? I'm trying to think.
No, unless the only thing he really mastered was making sure, pretty much all of his 5 children died way before they were actually even reached maturity. So, I just, most of his female partners ended up in insane asylums, and most of the male men that he slept with tried to kill themselves. So really, how successful is Aleister Crowley at that?
Right, so Aleister Crowley comes in at the time around the demise of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Yeah.
So you have, before the 20th century, you have a lot of magic, and it's still all very hidden, isn't it? There's still lots of hidden things.
It's all about secret societies and shit.
The public stuff that is out there is still kind of within the realms of secret societies. You've kind of still got the cunning folk arts, your everyday witch. Aleister Crowley, I think, marks the beginning of the modern practitioner, in that they're the best. Aleister Crowley's the best that a lot of people I see hope to become. They do a lot of a reading, they do a lot of a studying.
Yeah.
They even, on occasion, some of them even do magic. Like old Aleister Crowley, you can't say he didn't do magic. He's not an armchair magician.
No.
In fact, he wrote a lot of books that the armchair magicians read and collect.
He does.
And sell on for more than they've bought them for, as a little side business.
Yeah.
But he never really mastered anything. He is a beginner and died a beginner and messed up a lot of things. The one thing I will say I have respect for Aleister Crowley is that he never gave up.
No.
He carried on pushing.
He's very much like Gerald Gardner in that sense, very much collecting information from lots of different Western mysticism kind of pathways, trying to improve himself. But I just don't think they ever achieved the goal. Is my worry. Is actually, yes, he kept a trying. I don't feel like, did he ever really achieve what he set out to achieve?
No, I don't think that he achieved what he set out to achieve, and I don't think that a lot of people that follow him achieve what they set out to achieve, because that's the thing why I say he marks the beginning of this kind of modern practitioner. This practitioner that we would probably think of as, oh dear, this is what magic has become.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. And you see that even if you think, because I think that Aleister Crowley, for the majority of his magical practice, is inept. I'd say that he's, if I had to compare him to a lot of the people that we see today, yes, he would be a master of magic compared to them, which should give you some indication of the sort of people that we come across sometimes today.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that the work of Aleister Crowley is very interesting. There's a lot of lessons to be learned, kind of like a calamity, if you will. If you can learn from other people's mistakes, you can probably learn a lot from Aleister Crowley. If you want to learn a book of correspondences, if you want to copy and paste rituals, then again, Aleister Crowley might be another one, but it won't really get you anywhere. Even the, what you could possibly call, I don't know if you'd call it, I'm going to call it a religion, the Lima, even that which he, so say, channeled essentially from the god Thoth, who we kind of know.
I know quite well.
Silent partner in our business. Even that he didn't fully understand. I mean, he's tried to cobble together and create a religion that he himself was a kind of Grand Master of, or High Priest of, / the leader of, but he never really understood it himself, and he admitted that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Aleister Crowley's a beginner. Aleister Crowley's not someone to aspire to. His position. He died perplexed, and it's no wonder. If he looked back over his life, I can imagine he thought, I haven't really done anything. I've done a lot. I've said a lot. It's like one of those lectures you get, you know, which they say a lot. They speak for 8 hours and say a lot. But then you think about, well, what did I learn?
Shagged a lot of grad students.
Shagged a lot of grad students. They say a lot, but they don't actually say anything.
Yeah.
So I'd say that Aleister Crowley probably learned a lot in his life. It was all failures. And the Thoth Tarot deck, because someone asked about the creation of the Thoth Tarot deck, because I put a little thing on the No Holds Barred Witchcraft Facebook group, secret Facebook group, and asked the sort of things that people want us to talk about today. Someone mentioned about the Thoth Tarot deck. I think the Thoth Tarot deck is a back alley abortion. I think that what people get is they get to the perspective of, they learn a little bit about magic, and I say a little bit. They learn a little bit about magic, they think they know a lot about magic, and they start trying to correct the things that are out there. They start trying to correct other things. They start trying to think, these 4 elements, well, I don't understand the concept of spirit and how that's actually linked to the existing 4 elements, so I'm going to make a 5th element because I know better.
Yeah.
Crowley took the deck, you know, tarot deck, and he thought, I think there's stuff missing from this, so I'm going to add it in. When in reality, there wasn't things missing from it. It's just that he didn't understood that they weren't missing from it.
Well, it's one of those, wasn't it? So he knew the Mathers very well, didn't he? One of the founders of the Golden Dawn.
MacGregor Mathers, yeah.
And then, obviously, he therefore would have understood that the Arthur Waite deck is the kind of teachings of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and then tweaked it a bit. So I think they've often said it's to do with his understanding of I Ching, the divination practice in China. So, you know, because he travelled around a bit, didn't he? Mainly because he was being booted out of places and then had to go settle somewhere else. And I think on his travels, he'd picked up this popular divination game and kind of tried to blend that into the tarot. Because clearly he must have thought tarot didn't have enough to teach you, so I needed to add something else.
Crowley's one to start projects, to throw himself into a project and then get bored of it. So you've got the Abramelin ritual, and you've got the idea of contacting your holy or guardian angel, which is really just a case of merging with your higher self and downloading all of the information from past, present, and future lives. Of course, I'm not entirely sure whether he knew that. Most occultists know that, so I'm perfectly happy to give that one away. The holy guardian angel is your higher self, What is your higher self? Your higher self is that aspect of your soul
that is not
that
bound
goes
by
beyond
time.
different. Yes, it goes beyond different incarnations. It is the server that your iPhone backup storage device connects to. It doesn't matter what edition of iPhone you have, it still connects back to the data source.
Yeah.
That data source is not the all, because the all is the internet. That
Yeah.
data source is a server on the internet.
Where you
Oh, did I give away
Yeah.
some high level
Where you-
Golden Dawn
it's
Thermite
the cloud. It's the cloud where you accidentally upload all the things you didn't mean to upload, like those dick pics that
Yeah.
you then later on realise later, I didn't mean to upload those, but it automatically uploads to the cloud.
Yeah. I think my cloud must be full of dick pics and that.
Yours or other people's. That's the interesting point there.
There may or may not be some of mine on there as well. I don't know. We might have to edit all that bit out.
No, it's fine. Leave it. That's what they come here for. Let's face it. What they want is the password to the
Right.
cloud.
So what we've got is him really growing up in a Christian cult. It's kind of like my dad's version. I can see a lot.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of
Yeah.
similarities between his family and my family. If I'm honest, on my dad's side of the family, anyway. He grew up in this weird Christian cult. Very serious Protestant Christians, and then he kind of rebelled and went the opposite way and went into all of this kind of naughty stuff. It was a bit of a sicko and always had been. You know, he killed cats to see if they had 9 lives.
Yeah.
He is the sort of kid that goes with a magnifying glass burning ants. That sort, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a sicko. Would you say he's a sociopath?
No,
Think he has any emotion?
I don't think he's a sociopath. I do think he's obviously a sadomasochistic arsehole, and derives pleasure from harming other things. I'm not sure if he was a sociopath. I don't know. I'd have to bow to the expertise of us. We'll get Paul on. We'll get Paul to answer that question for us.
Get the psychotherapist.
Get the psychotherapist to answer that question. Yeah, I don't think I'm qualified
Should we get
to
him on
answer
and do a magical practitioner special and just rattle off different famous names and just say, Paul, is this person a sociopath? Is this person a sociopath? Is this person crazy, or are they enlightened? And just see what he says to each one. That could be fun.
I think that would be a fun one. Top 10
Paul,
occultists.
if you're listening, because we know you're listening, if you're listening, expect a call or something. Or maybe a couple of messages that we can quote you on.
Yeah.
You know.
Start preparing your top 10 list.
Is she Doreen Virtue? Is she having a breakdown and turn into Christianity, or is she found the Enlightenment? What does the psychotherapist say? Can you comment, or is that a breaking some sort of ethical boundaries?
Well,
and guidelines?
I don't think
she's not a client.
She's not a client. Well, we don't know. We don't know.
Maybe he's the one that said, "Oh, Doreen, I tell you what, things aren't going very well for you in your life, are they? Are you sure you're on the right path?
Are you sure you want to keep talking to all those angels?
All those angels and that?" And she thought, "Oh, Paul, you're right, man. You're right. I need to find Jesus." Right, sorry. Back on the point. Anyway,
on the point.
So someone asks about the wickedest man in the world. Okay, the title and titles, the wickedest man in the world. Lauren just jumped in on the thing and said, he's not the wickedest man on the world, he's just an asshole. So would you agree with Lauren, our friend Lauren there?
I think I'd have to agree with Lauren on that front. But it was a newspaper thing, wasn't it? You've got to put this in context. This was Victorian Britain.
Well, he did go about calling himself the Beast 666.
Well, he was convinced he was the Antichrist, wasn't he? He was convinced that he was the Antichrist.
His mother was convinced that he was the Antichrist. He played up to it. Now, this reminds me a little bit about
a meeting with your dad.
No, Katie Price. It reminds me of Katie Price Jordan, you know, page 3. She's like, oh, I don't like it. All these tabloids are writing about me. You want to pay me to do a reality TV show? Oh, come on, I'll get my tits out. You can film me tits and do a reality TV show about how fucked up my life is. And then what I'll do is I'll complain about the papers are writing about me. That's what I'll do. So Aleister Crowley kind of is a little bit like that, except for the fact that he doesn't complain. He actually goes with it.
And then
so
then he decides to go write for the papers.
Yeah, propaganda, Minister of Propaganda. That's quite cool. Okay, so these titles and stuff like that people give themselves, or that even secret societies bestow on certain ranks when you go through an initiation and you move up to the inner circle or whatever, the Masons, Eastern Star, whatever it is, whenever they give you a title, what do you think about them? Do you agree with the title things? Because they just go back to ancient times to a certain extent, don't they?
Well, it does, but then in ancient times you wouldn't have been given a glossy certificate.
Oh, okay. So it's the certificate you don't
It's
like?
it's the certificate that I get iffy about, is the fact that, okay, but why do you need... It's a lineage thing. It's a kind of internal knights of the gentry kind of situation where they need papers to prove who they are, and it's that
why is
that I
that?
don't
Do you
like.
know why that is? Do you know why that is? Do you know why the third degree initiate of Alexandrian witchcraft needs papers to prove that they're a third degree initiate of Alexandrian witchcraft? It's because A, they haven't worked out that if they get a spirit to actually keep the records, that all that person needs to do is summon up the spirit and say, this person, Arlene, is she a third degree initiate?
Yeah.
And the spirit says, no, she isn't. She's an imposter.
Burner.
And then you know she's an imposter. I think that when you get these limited, and I use the term limited traditions, I shouldn't, because it may make people think of limited capacity, whether that be physical disability or mental capacity. It's limited capacity magical practitioners and systems whereby we need to give everyone a passport or a photographic ID or a certificate, because we don't know any real magic, you see. So we can't tell whether that witch in front of us is actually a witch or whether she's an imposter, because we don't know ourselves.
We don't know if she's nicked those robes from old Arthur down the road.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know if the School of Martial Arts, when they meet another practitioner who's a black belt in judo and in my judo school, I can't tell, you see. So I need to say, have you got your black belt, please? I can't tell just by looking at them or fighting them or watching them fight whether they're actually a yellow belt. And within these traditions, that's generally what you're talking about. You're talking about proper magical traditions with proper magical practitioners. They don't require any form of a paperwork to keep an eye on their members.
No.
They don't need any certificates of initiation, because all the other members, they know how to phone up the correct spirit, get them on dial a ghost or whatever, and find out that information.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was going off on a rant a bit, wasn't it?
You were ranting a bit there, but I think it's an appropriate rant, at least, for a change.
Yeah.
So is at the end of the day, it's not required. So, you know, in the good old days, by that I mean ancient times, you wouldn't have required that on the basis that you would have known by your presence alone. Not even need to dial a ghost, but you'd have known by presence alone that you were in the presence of someone with real power. And I think that's the difference. You know, you would meet a seer, and you would know that she had the power that she had purely on her presence alone. You know, she wouldn't have needed to wear a little gold band or you know, a little red cord in order to tell them that they were of a certain level of training. You know, you lived in the temple, it was part of your day to day. With these kind of mystery cults, it's a case of they want to stay hidden, but then they need ways to remind each other that they're all part of the same club. It's, you know, hence the handshakes and whatnot with the Freemasons.
Yeah. We have a mini what we call the advanced practitioners, don't we, on the Thoth. We don't have a tradition, but we do have a group of advanced practitioners. We didn't advertise for the training or for our mystery school. There is the Thoth Witchcraft Patreon, of course, but there is a secret advanced section. All of the people that got there didn't answer an advert on the Facebook.
No.
They didn't even do a Google search or anything to look for mentors. What they did is they were told by the spirits they work with to come to us and say a specific thing, a very specific thing, and that gets them access to that specific. I wouldn't like to call it inner circle because we put just as much effort into those people as we do our beginners. But it is advanced magic, it's an advanced magic group. And guess what? We don't need to advertise for that.
No.
Because the practitioners themselves speak with the spirits and the spirits tell them the answers to the questions and what to do. Is literally the banner of, like that old meme that goes up, I see and posted on Facebook and stuff. Psychic meeting. If you don't know when and where, you're not invited.
Exactly.
Because they should be able to work that information out themselves.
Yeah.
Proper secret societies work like that. What you get is you get some of those secret societies that create outer orders to fund the inner order.
Yes.
They don't need to, but they tend to do it. Really, it's just a recruitment process. So you've got things like the Golden Dawn, Hermetic Order, the Golden Dawn. You've got kind of like an inner circle and an outer circle. The outer circle is where all the celebrities go, all the people that are seriously interested in magic and they pay a fee. And then that supplies money and influence to the people in the inner circle. Now, the real magic's going on in the inner circle. The problem with Aleister Crowley is he never got in that inner circle.
No.
And you can see from the stories of the Hermetic Order, the Golden Dawn, that he tried to get in and that he was given some bullshit fake initiation, which didn't actually stand up because a lot of the other people weren't having none of it. Not just because they didn't like him, but also because he wasn't a worthy. Because that's the thing, what a lot of people don't understand. These great secret societies that are a secret, you can't Google them. The Masons, the Freemasons, is not a secret society. There is a books written about them. You know the name.
Yeah.
It's real secret societies. You do not know they exist. You do not know their names. I've met some of them. You don't know their names, right? You don't know the people. Well, you might know the people that are involved, but you wouldn't necessarily know who was involved, you know? And that's the thing with a lot of these things, is what you're seeing the outer circles and the bullshit secret societies. Now, most of the secret societies I know, they don't have an inner and an outer core. What they have is a secret society, and then they have a fake secret society for the beginners. It has a different name, different structure. What they don't have is they don't have a temple complex, whereby they have, this is the areas for the people which are the plebs, the beginners, and this is the secret society in the middle. You can progress through the ranks. What you do get is you get, here's the, I don't know, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and then they would have another organization that was the secret society that wasn't really necessarily related with that.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is twofold. Well, there's a lot of reasons actually that I'm not really going to go into. We'll do a whole thing on secret society structures and stuff if you want. But basically just put it at this. Not only is it security issues, but also the fact that the outer order is for training and beginners. What would you call interview process?
The shop front.
Is the shop front. And then what you've got is also the people that are on the inner secret society, very often they have their own outer orders. It's not like, oh, at the Thoth Witchcraft shop we have a secret society in the middle. It's not that, because not everyone works for the outer order, the Thoth Patreon or something like that. What you have is you have people in an organization. One might have something from the Masons, one might have something from Thelema, one might have something for that. They all might create their own little mini shop fronts. So think of it like this. The secret society is the chamber of commerce in a village, and all of the public secret societies that you name are the shop fronts. You've got the laundrette.
Yep.
you've got the takeaway, you've got this. The owners of all of those meet up at the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
There aren't adverts for the Chamber of Commerce, though. You have to be in it to know about it, okay? That was kind of a bullshit explanation. It sounds kind of occulty and conspiracy-esque, but I'm not saying that there is a huge cabal of all of these secret societies, like probably David Icke would say. But I know from first-hand experience, as you know from first-hand experience, Chris, that this does go on, and I'm not going to pretend like it don't. So let's draw a line under that and answer another question with the 5 minutes we got left, which someone also asked on the No Holds Barred Witchcraft Facebook group. World War One started because he might have released a demon in the Paris working. Did Aleister Crowley release a demon and cause World War One?
No.
Is that a yes or no question? Can you give us a yes or no answer?
I feel that is a no. It's simple as a no. There are lots of factors that led to World War One and Two. I don't think you can lay that at the feet of a very basic magician going by the name of Aleister Crowley. There were lots of secret societies involved.
Beginners mess things up, though, on a local scale sometimes. They are capable of messing things up on a local scale. Intermediate practitioners often mess things up on a global they have more of a global reach and mess about globally, and possibly universally as well. They might make a few impacts on the universe. So I don't know. I mean, Aleister Crowley might have contributed, but he wasn't responsible, I don't think.
No, I don't think you can make that kind of claim.
If that's coming from him and he's the one, then that just feeds into his ego. And Aleister Crowley had a big ego. It was literally like a case of, there's a war going on. Everyone thinks I'm a baddie. Well, I might as well say that I created it. What am I doing?
You only have to look at what went on. He offered his services to the British. The British said, no, not interested, go away. So he goes over to the US. Then he starts, upsets some of the US. Then he goes, okay, well, I'll offer my services to Germany then. You're just kind of like, okay, pick a team, love. If you're that bad at picking a team, the likelihood is you're not able to actually create the mascot. Let's face it.
Right. So we've got to answer these last couple of questions, or talk about these last couple of points that we were asked to. One is synthesizing magic and science, so combining magic and science. The next is sex magic, and then we're talking about Thelema. So we will talk about all of those in the Thoth Witchcraft Patreon, because we are running out of time.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it with the last minute we've got, because Aleister Crowley was well into his sex magic. Do you think Aleister Crowley was good in bed, Chris?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so, based on the efforts.
Why is that?
Well, on the efforts he had to go in order to describe his needs. If you're shouting about them that much, you're not proving the point, are you? In the actual bedroom. So I would.
Does he strike you as a selfish lover?
Wow. It was what I couldn't get over was the constant referrals to being a sodomite. So, if you're a sodomite and you're spending all these time with women, then I'm assuming that you're not actually investing any effort to the woman's pleasure, are you? And then therefore it's not really sex magic. But that's about all I'm going to say about it on this side, because we haven't got the time. But I think we definitely need to do. So I don't know if it's one we'll have to do for the Patreon or what, or if it'll have to be something we do on Witchcraft Live. But we'll have to do a couple of videos and
if it's Witchcraft Live and we're doing sex magic, if it's Witchcraft Live, they're going to be expecting some sort of live sex show, aren't they? We could get thrown off of Facebook for that. That might be something for our OnlyFans account.
But yeah, I think that'll be something we're going to have to address, isn't it? It's something we touch on a lot, isn't it? Though sex magic.
Yeah, so potentially coming soon. sex magic on OnlyFans, Thoth OnlyFans.